We've got another road trip for you today. It is Amy's uncle's 70th birthday, so we're heading from Manchester all the way down to Bath, and today we're setting off with 52% battery, so a bit of a different drive today. Normally we set off with 80-90%, sometimes even 100%. We're setting off with 52%. Does range anxiety exist? Will we get there okay? I think so, but let's find out. So we're going to go to a small charger in Bath city centre because we're going to do a little bit of work on the laptops before we can check into our Airbnb. So this is in Charlotte Street. Let's have a little look about what it says. We've only got 52% battery, and you can see it's going to stop us at Hilton Park southbound for a 15-minute charge. We should arrive there with 19%, and then that should allow us to arrive in Bath at that pod point charger with about 12%. So let's go on our way and go. Now, because we're leaving with 52%, the battery is already preconditioning 30 seconds into the journey. I've never asked this before, but when your battery is preconditioning, do you get a little bit of a headache sometimes? I don't know if it's just me, I don't know if it's the sound or whatever, but I've noticed whenever the car is preconditioning or if I'm at a supercharger plugged in, I always seem to get a bit of a headache. Let me know, does that happen to you? But anyway, onwards and downwards to Bath. Thursday morning traffic, chock-a-block here in Manchester. So we're a few miles into the journey now. You can see our live projection is in green, which means we're doing pretty well. So you can see we should arrive at the supercharger with 20.8%, and overall nothing is taking too much of a toll at the moment. The winds are causing a 0% increase in energy usage.
Working again.
So we've just arrived at the Hilton Superchargers. It looks like they're completely empty, so let's get plugged in. We'll see how long it will take to charge. See how long it takes to charge, and we'll go grab a coffee. We're plugged in. It says we're getting 140 kilowatts. It says we've got 15 minutes remaining to continue our trip. I'm going to take it up to 90% just because we're going to go grab a little coffee. It looks like the journey was pretty good. We actually arrived slightly more than expected. We arrived with 20.9%, which is pretty good. So let's get this charged and then we'll continue our journey down to Bath. So now it's time to grab a coffee. Now, you don't see this very often at the Hilton Superchargers. They're all actually completely empty. So I've got the chargers all to myself, which means we're getting some really good charging speeds from these slightly older Tesla Superchargers. I've been going for these little tiny small cortados recently. I just find that it's like the perfect balance of milk and coffee. Sometimes when you get a flat white, you just get way too much milk. So if you haven't tried one, cortado, smaller, you know, kind of about half the size of a normal latte, go for it. So we're back in the car and the battery is nearly charged to 90%. So left on our journey, it says we've got 2 hours and 17 minutes, 109 miles, and we should, if I look at the trip graph, we should arrive in Bath with 52%, which is actually pretty good. So the battery is looking pretty good today. So let's unplug and get on the road. Okay, so we're now arriving into Bath and we're going to park at a car park where we think there's a 7 kilowatt pod point charger. Now it's sort of middle of the day here, so I'm imagining they'll probably all be taken, but we'll drive there, find out, and if not, we'll park because we're arriving with 53% battery, and the trip graph has shown that we've actually arrived almost spot on to the projection, which is really good. It means that the energy graph is getting much more accurate than it used to be. I used to find that it always was a little bit off here and there by quite considerable amounts. Now, every journey we've done recently, it's almost been spot on. So we found the chargers. Let's see how these work. So, chargers on my left.
Turn left onto Marlborough Lane.
Let's see what it says. We have arrived in Bath and we found the electric chargers, and actually there's only one Mini plugged in. So the trip graph is showing that we actually, in the end, I think it's because of the hills and the traffic just getting into the city, it says we used 5.9% more than trip projected, which is weird because it was right at the end. Almost the whole journey we used less than it predicted, and this last little bit, I think due to the traffic, due to some little diversions around the city, we've used a little bit more. But it's mad that it used 5.9% more right at the end. So it says it was due to the driving. So what I'm going to do now is I'm opening up the PodPoint app. I'm going to see if I can find the charger on here. It doesn't seem to be on this PodPoint map, so fingers crossed I can find it using the name on the charger. So let's go. Okay, so you got your laptop ready? I think we need to go find a coffee shop and do some work. So after meeting Amy's uncles and dad for a coffee, we drove up to our Airbnb, which was situated just at the top of the city centre with an amazing view. After checking in, we walked down and headed into the city. Honestly, walking through the streets of Bath feels like you're stepping into a time machine. The city is full of Georgian architecture with its honey-coloured stone buildings, loads of shops and restaurants. It's definitely worth a visit. It's no wonder Bath has been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Of our trip was visiting the legendary Roman baths. These ancient thermal baths are an absolute must-see. They offer a fascinating glimpse into the Roman era and the daily life of the locals. You can explore the well-preserved ruins, marvel at the beautifully crafted architecture, and even sample the mineral-rich spring water that still flows to this day. At the moment, we've just arrived at the EV charger and the car has literally just crashed. So we've come into Bath for a bit of breakfast. We've got the car charged up to 84% using one of these PodPoint chargers. Now we're going to head back to Manchester. as I've mentioned, we've got the car up to 84%. We are now going to enter our directions in home and we'll see what kind of journey we are going to get out of this. One thing I would note about Bath and the Tesla navigation is basically don't use the Tesla navigation. When we were trying to find this car park, it was trying to take us into bus lanes with cameras on, and if you just didn't see that sign, you would definitely be getting a ticket. So instead we had to pull over. We did notice that it said you couldn't go through these bus lanes after 10 AM, so we then started using Google Maps on the phone. So a bit of a shame, a bit of a letdown. Usually the maps on the Tesla are very, very good, but on this occasion, not so great. The second thing is, because we're in an underground car park, you can't use the Tesla app to unlock your charge port or access the pod point charges. There is a Wi-Fi network here which doesn't seem to be working, and I've just put the directions in for home and that's not working either. So we're going to have to do all of this outside, and we had to manually stop the charge, unlock the charge port from the car itself. Not a big problem, but just something to think about if you are going to park at this car park here at the Waitrose in Bath. Okay, so let's put our directions in here. I'm going to put the Trafford Centre in. I'm going to go there for a little charge on the way home. So let's put that there, the Trafford Centre car park, 144 miles. Let's see how we get on. Okay, so it's saying it's going to be 2 hours and 52 minutes and 180 miles. It looks like we can get there in the single charge, and we should arrive home with 25% battery, which would actually be pretty good for a journey like this. We're setting off with 83% battery and 269 miles on the estimation of the battery levels. So let's go. So the journey's been going okay. We are now stuck in a little bit of traffic, again, just outside of Birmingham. We've got 47% left on the battery. It says we're going to arrive at the supercharger at the Trafford Centre. I've added that in with 20% left. So overall, been a pretty good journey. It was raining, now it's dry again. Overall, pretty good. Let's have a look at the energy graph, and it says we've consumed 3.5%. We're going to arrive with 18.4% according to this. And it says 2.3 mile an hour winds from the east, cost 0.1% on this trip. But overall, the trip graph is looking pretty good. It is 28 degrees now, so it's getting quite warm outside. Let's head on and finish the journey. Okay, so we have arrived back in Manchester with 18%. The drive was pretty good. It took about 3.5 hours to get from Bath to Manchester due to a little bit of traffic. We've plugged into the superchargers. They are extremely busy today. I got the last spot. I think there's 16 chargers here, I might be wrong, but all of them were taken. I managed to get this one and someone pulled out. So we're now charging. It's saying it's a high usage supercharger station. So we're going to charge up to about 80% just so I've got some juice for the week. It says we've got 40 minutes remaining, quite a long amount of time. So let's change this down maybe a little bit here and let's get charging. So if we look at the energy graph, we actually arrived with 17.8%, it says, slightly different to what it said there. 32.4% consumed, 1.1% less than the trip projection. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I have a ton of other road trip videos on this channel going to places like Cornwall, Norfolk, Chichester and Oxford, so check out the channel if you want to see those. I also have a ton of videos about things for the Tesla, accessories, reviews, all that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.